Self-improvement and self-help books are practically useless at this point. Well, at least for me. Sophomore year of college was the start of my self-development journey. Before this, I did not care about self-help at all. I didn't care what it had to say or how it was going to improve my life. But one day I was walking towards one of my classes sophomore year of college, and it kind of just hit me that I wanted to get into self-help. I know that sounds weird, but it was kind of just like an epiphany out of nowhere. I'm like, you know what? I want to start to get into this. And so for a college kid, what's the best way to get into self-improvement? Well, I started to dive into a ton of self-help books. I read all the classics from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And then I started listening to any audiobook I could and any podcast on self-help I could. The Tim Ferriss podcast is still one of my favorite ones to this day. YouTube videos on self-help. I consumed anything that would even remotely help me. I thought I was being the most productive, badass beast, the millionaire guy. I got the millionaire mindset out of all of my friends. Oh, you guys haven't read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss?
Don't even breathe in my direction.
I was starting to think very highly of myself, to the point where I decided to start this YouTube channel in May of 2017. I wanted to teach what I had learned through all of these things that I consumed and, maybe make a career out of it one day, but teaching it was the very extent of it. And what I mean by this is I was just regurgitating everything I had listened to or watched or read. I didn't actually have any sort of success in my life. I was preaching, but I was never, ever practicing. And this is why you need to stop reading self-help books and stop consuming so much self-help content. And it's actually why I've decided to transition to reading strictly fiction books, but more on why I'm doing that later. There's a really good quote by Derek Sivers, who is the founder of CD Baby. And I actually learned this quote from actually a self-help podcast, ironically. And he said something like, if more information was the answer, then we'd all be billionaires with perfect abs. And this is the rabbit hole that you can get caught in if you start getting addicted to consuming self-help material. All that information that you're consuming that you think is making you more productive or making you more successful in life is useless without application. And this is the false sense of productivity that comes from consuming any sort of self-help form of media, even this video you're watching right here. Except this one will actually help you, so yeah, that's why you're watching it. This false sense of productivity is what I like to call the illusion of progress. You consume a bunch of self-help books, you read plenty of them, but you don't actually do any of the information that you've been reading. And so it feels like you're making progress, but once you're on your 5th or 6th or 10th self-help book, you realize that nothing in your life has changed. There's something so sexy about reading self-help books and doing productive things in these books that don't actually equate to any sort of improvement in your life. Like you can have the perfect morning routine that you've established through these books, or you can, write everything down that you have to do on a calendar and like buy a really cool poster that's motivating and inspiring and has a cool quote on it. But all of these things, what do they add up to? They don't actually add up to you changing at all. And this is why I've come to a halt on consuming pretty much any type of self-help content. Not only because it feels like you're doing something good with your time, but you're actually not, but also because it was starting to kind of become addicting. And the reason it was becoming addicting is because you read all of this good information and it makes you feel better about yourself. And then when you become complacent because you start feeling really, really good about yourself and what you're doing, then you don't actually strive and put in the effort to work towards your goals. What I've identified through my whole self-help journey are 3 stages of self-help, and depending on the stage that you're in, it might actually be beneficial for you to still consume self-help content. The first stage is the stage of loss. This is right at the start when you have no sort of motivation or confidence or any sort of information on how to start in any area of your life where you're trying to grow or be more successful. You're searching for answers. And so this was the stage where I was trying to figure out, what can I do to become a better, more fulfilled, more happy person? And then there is stage 2, which is the consuming stage. This is when you start to digest information about self-help or whatever you're trying to get better at. But here's the problem. Most people get stuck in step 2 and they stay there forever, thinking that they're in this la-la land of productivity that isn't actually doing anything. It's only until you get to step 3 that results actually come. And step 3 is application. You have to apply what you're learning from these videos or from these books. The way I got to step 3 is by writing down the things that I learned in these videos. A lot of these videos I would watch over and over. I would binge watch self-help videos, which is not helpful. And I wouldn't even write down or remember the information that was given to me in these videos. You know, the next day would come and I'd be like, okay, I watched that video. What was it about again? Oh yeah, I don't actually remember anything from that video. That was pointless. In order to make these videos or books useful, write down the information, write down some key bullet points that really stuck out to you and that will really provide you value. And then you just start doing, and you have to honestly fake it till you make it. This is what I did at the start. When I was making my first self-help videos on YouTube, like I told you guys, I was not a successful person at all. In fact, I wasn't even really that confident back then, but I was coming off as someone that was very confident. And because I was just doing the things that successful people do, I eventually became successful myself. I've had people tell me that fake it till you make it is terrible advice, but it is like priming your brain, your subconscious mind, to become a successful person. Because when you truly believe that you already are successful, this is getting into law of attraction now, then you're going to start to attract or notice things in your environment that will help lead you to more success or happiness in your life. I will still consume self-help videos every once in a while on some type of like specific topic or YouTubers that I really enjoy. Hopefully I'm like that YouTuber to you. And so now I've switched to consuming other forms of media, and this is why I have started to read fiction as well. Reading is so great for the brain. It's so great for expanding your vocabulary. But the reason why I read fiction specifically is because it's really allowed me to spark new creative ideas in my mind. And that's really what I need right now, not more information on how to become successful. Fiction has been helping me more than any self-help book ever could right now. I just noticed that when I read fiction, I'm just immersed into this whole other world, this whole other universe of characters and ideas. And through living in this universe that I am for the brief period of time that I'm reading, it allows me to access what I feel like is a completely different part of my mind, and it sparks a lot of ideas that I've now been getting, and it just makes me feel like I'm functioning in a more optimal way. And in fact, now that I'm so much more relaxed, in that relaxed state of mind is when I get my best ideas for like these videos, or when I figure out something that's been stressing me out for a while. I feel like that's really what fiction has allowed me to do. Identify the stage that you're at and really ask yourself if one more self-help video or one more self-help book is really going to be that key to your success. Choose your information wisely and apply it. Thank you to all my patrons on this channel. If you guys don't know what Patreon is, it's a platform where I'm putting out exclusive content that can't be found anywhere else, and I'm also giving personal one-on-one sessions on here as well. If you want to check it out, link in the description, patreon.com/Cole Hastings. And that is it for this video. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching till the end, and go put in some work.